The Gemara Masechta Shabbos on Daf Chafalf on Beis describes the miracle of Chanukah, that the Syrian Greeks defiled all the oil in the Heichal, and when the Chashmonaim entered the Heichal, they searched for a flask of oil to light the menorah. They only found one flask. It only had enough oil to last for one night, and miraculously it lasted for 8 nights. The Gemara is clearly saying the miracle of Chanukah is that they found oil that only had enough to last for one night, and it miraculously lasted for 8 nights. The miracle of the oil. On the other hand, if we study the Al HaNisim, the Al HaNisim tells us the miracle of Chanukah, celebration of Chanukah, is Rabim Biad Ma'atim, the many in the hands of the few, Tameim Biad Tahirim. The impure Syrian Greeks fell to the Jews. The military victory. The Al HaNisim is clearly saying that Chanukah is a celebration of the war. So what was it? Is Chanukah a Yom Tiv to celebrate the miracle of the oil, or is it a Yom Tiv commemorating the military victory? Furthermore, we could ask, why was the miracle of the oil needed at all? The Pnei Yehoshua, the Sha'as Tshuvas Chacham Tzvi, they both ask, there's a halachic principle, Tuma Hutra B'tzibur, that when the majority of the Jewish people are impure, you're allowed to do the service in the Beis HaMikdash in a state of impurity. So why did they even have to, why was the miracle of the oil necessary? They could have used impure oil and lit with impure oil for 8 days. They didn't need a flask of pure oil to last for 8 days. They could have used impure oil. Tuma Hutra B'tzibur. We find in this week's Parsha, Parshat Vayeishev, that the brothers, they were jealous of Yosef and they threw him into the pit. And Ruvain says, you know what? Let's not kill Yosef. Let's sell him to the Yishmaelim. And the pasuk says, Perek Lamed Zayin, pasuk Chaf Hei, Vayeshvu le'achal lechem. They sat to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes, and they saw Vihine Orchas Yishmaelim ba. A caravan of Yishmaelim were coming from Gilad. Ugmalehem noiseim, and their camels were carrying all kinds of fragrant spices. Nichais, utsri, veloit, holchem lahirid mitzrayma. These camels were carrying all kinds of aromatic substances, and Rashi is troubled. Why does it concern us? Why do we need to know what the camels were carrying? Rashi says, Lama pirsei ma'kosavas masam. Says Rashi, Lahoidia matan scharon shel tzadikim, to teach the great reward of the righteous. She'ein darkon shel arviyim lasis ela naft ve'itron sharechan ra. It's not the derech, it is not the way of Arabs to carry aromatic spices, only things of foul odor. Says Rashi, but for Yosef HaTzadik, v'lazen nizdamnu b'samim, for Yosef HaTzadik, they were carrying aromatic substances, shelo yuzak me'reach ra, so he should not be harmed from the foul smell. It's a very difficult Rashi. Rashi is telling us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did a great favor for Yosef, that his kidnappers, that his hijackers were carrying substances that smelled good. Do you think it concerned Yosef how his kidnappers smelled? Yosef was on the top of the world. He was learning Torah from his father. He had the special garment, the Ksoines Pasim. It was the last thing on Yosef's mind. At the time that he was being sold into slavery and his world was crashing down, what the camels were carrying. Of what significance is it? Why does it even concern us? Why would it have even dawned on Yosef to pay attention to the smell of the items the kidnappers were transporting? Says Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, the aroma, the good aroma, the pleasant aroma of Yosef's kidnappers was sending Yosef a very important message. Yes, Yosef's world was coming crashing down. He was being kidnapped from Yaakov Avinu. He was being taken to the most degenerate society in the world. He was all by himself, a young boy. In Yosef's mind, he may have thought God was forsaking him. God was abandoning him. He was being cast away. the good aroma, the pleasant aroma, was showing Yosef, no, Hashem is not banishing you. You're not being cast away. Just the opposite. Hashem is taking you there. He's holding you by the hand. Hashem has a mission for you. You may not understand it. You may not know what it is. But the Rebbe Hashem is not abandoning you. He's guiding you. Says Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, similarly, when it comes to the story of Chanukah, certainly the great miracle of Chanukah is the military victory. Our lives were in danger. The Syrian Greeks persecuted us for religious observance. We had to win the war to save our lives. The miracle of the oil was certainly not halachically necessary, but it put the miracle of the war in the proper context. We may have thought God was saving our life because He has to save our life. We're His people. He has no alternative. If He doesn't save our life, there won't be a Jewish people. Hashem didn't want us to think He's saving our life just because He had to. Hashem wanted to show He's saving our life because He loved us. The miracle of the oil was an added touch, a touch of love, so that we recognize and understand and appreciate that the military victory was not because Hashem had to save us, but rather it's because He loved us. Chaim Shmulevitz explains that when a person gives a gift, a watch, or any other item, the gift is certainly the most valuable part of the matana, of the present. But the wrapping paper and the bow add a certain touch, a certain dimension. It's a certain touch of love that is added to the gift. Says Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, certainly the primary miracle of Chanukah was the military victory. However, the miracle of the oil, the miracle that the oil lasted for 8 days, was a touch of love, was the wrapping paper, was the bow. It was a kiss from Hashem. Reb Chaim Shmulevitz says this is analogous to a family that lost an heirloom, and they were searching for it for the longest time. And one of the children finds the heirloom and returns it to the father, and the whole family is overjoyed that the heirloom was found. And the father goes over to the boy and he gives the boy a kiss on his head. So while everyone is overjoyed that the heirloom was found, this boy has extra joy, because not only was the heirloom found, but he also merited a kiss from his father. Says Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, the celebration of Chanukah is the celebration of the military victory. But the added touch of the miracle of the oil was a kiss from Hashem. And that is the greatest cause of celebration. Wishing everyone a wonderful week and a freilichen Chanukah haba alinu l'taiva.